Of this show has been the chopping and changing by the Sussexes of priorities, projects and, well, personnel. And just when we thought things may have settled a bit, there's news this week that the Sussexes are parting way with another 6 staff.
Chess of delusion strikes again, and this time I put a stop to what was intended to be her next great empire, since her hotel and restaurant dreams are collapsing more quickly than her diminishing Hollywood importance. Go, as always, Meghan Markle's wish to grow her faltering lifestyle business into lodging and dining establishments has become a worldwide joke. In a scathing piece, critics headed by Australia's Sky News didn't hold back, one commentator said. It ought to be referred to as if or, even better, as never. The comment swiftly gained widespread attention and sparked further criticism of the Duchess-turned-brand builder.
By the Sussexes, because if you look closely, all of the staff that they've basically either asked to leave or terminated are communication staff. So staff that have to do with their comms and their PR. They got rid of, the communications person for Archewell, as well as,
Seems to be out of her element in the actual business world once again. First, let's examine how Meghan's plans for a hotel and restaurant are falling apart before they even start. As always, let's discuss Meghan's now famous assertion. Items apparently sold out in a matter of hours. It sounds like a huge success, doesn't it? False. Insiders have disclosed behind the scenes that the launch was not at all spectacular. A corner boutique's inventory was purposefully kept so minimal that it could hardly occupy a shelf, according to many sources. Less than 300 units are in question. This wasn't a matter of strong demand, according to an individual who used to work for a brand.
Leaked from inside of their communications staff, which I'm sure Meghan and Harry wouldn't be very happy about. But look, one thing they have struggled with since leaving the royal family is communication, is their PR with the public.
Low supply was being twisted into a false headline. This was just a publicity stunt. Meghan's brand was so appealing that she didn't sell out. Since there was nothing to start with, she sold out. And let's face it, would the media have accepted that spin so readily if it had been Victoria Beckham or Kate Middleton? This is when things start to become heated. Australia. After only one glance at Meghan's new business strategy, Sky News blasted it live on the air. The clip swiftly went viral when one critic said it should be titled as if, or even better, as never.
Been used to this kind of media attention, so trying to curate her image has been quite a struggle. But the Sussexes are still going ahead. They released that video of both of them twerking with, I believe, a pillow inside of Meghan's dress.
Sky News didn't hold back as it amassed thousands of views and lit up social media with memes and laughs. Meghan has never received warm backing in Australia, where they referred to the whole concept as ridiculous, delusional, and even Hollywood cosplay of business. This derisive attack wasn't only for amusement.
Over your PR with
where Meghan has never enjoyed warm support. This mocking takedown wasn't just entertainment.
And doing everything to kind of smooth over your PR with the rest of the public. It sends conflicting and almost attention-seeking messages. So this has definitely been a minefield that they've struggled to navigate.
Yeah, absolutely, it has been. And if that's not all, there's a new documentary investigating the Sussexes titled Where Did...
A message to the world press. Quit acting like this lady is a real business magnate. And according to insiders, Meghan was furious that she was once again the target of a joke in a nation where she had previously hoped to win Danessa over. Why is this a catastrophe? Because Meghan is attempting to enter a world that she is unfamiliar with. Let's be truthful. According to customer satisfaction surveys, Meghan Markle wants us to expand into wellness-inspired restaurants. What does she know about hospitality, restaurant management, hotel personnel, operations, and menus? The country used to adore the Duchess of Sussex.
Were once the darlings of the nation.
They were this fabulous new couple that were really making the royal family completely valuable to the UK and beyond.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex!
Enjoying a gilded life of royal luxury.
What's this all about, Esther? Anything surprising?
And luxury, plant-based meals, minimalist rooms, boutique hotels, and maybe a pillow with some jam. It is already being torn apart by critics. 1. She has absolutely no experience in the culinary or hotel industries, according to one specialist in the field. It has no substance and is just vibrations. The fact is that in fields where expertise is necessary, credibility cannot be faked. This isn't Instagram, and it's not acting. Meghan's dream world isn't working in this real-world situation. The worst part is that this isn't even her first cooking mishap. Do you recall Meghan pitching a cookery program to Spotify? No, since that didn't happen.
somewhere in the middle of nowhere. They're living in quite a large mansion in Montecito. And one of the things that Prince Harry made very public when he left the royal family, one of the things that he was quite disgruntled about was the fact that his father basically cut him off financially. So really they were in a state where they had to make a lot of money and a lot of money fast. He blundered in a video and said,
Netflix, according to reports, Spotify executives canceled the concert before it ever took started. The lack of personality, unclear direction, and based on leaking sources, unlistenability were the reasons. Meghan is the same person that is now attempting to manage eateries. It's similar to declaring you're starting a chain of upscale bistros after failing an online culinary course. Even Netflix, which used to think Meghan was a treasure trove, has changed its mind. They are aware that the hoopla isn't producing tangible outcomes. She speaks a lot, yet she vanishes when it comes time to deliver. The last blow to Meghan's standing.
Really, they were in a state where they had to make a lot of money and a lot of money fast. He blundered in a video and said, the Netflix deal was an idea that was pitched to him, and he had to basically pay for his family's security, which I'm sure if you're giving the Sussexes $100 million deal, you're not happy to hear that the people only took it just so they could pay for lifelong security. But they were in a state where they had to make money, and they
had to create as a money-grabbing device is failing. Investors from Silicon Valley who had flocked to be linked to her business are now retreating. Every project she works on becomes a media circus, according to one investor who spoke anonymously to The Times. Nobody wants to finance drama anymore, and it's hard to blame them when a brand is associated with instability, botched launches, derided concepts, and overblown bullshit. It isn't a brand anymore, it's a liability. It seems that Meghan's Midas touch is more of a curse.
So Meghan Markle's estimated net worth from her work from Suits and her lifestyle brand was about £5 million. And we know that Prince Harry was left inheritance by his late mother, Princess Diana, as well as the Queen Mother, which estimates around sort of between 20 and 30 million pounds. But we know that they have quite an expensive mortgage on their house.
Everything she touches, from Spotify to Netflix to this hospitality leap, seems to collapse under the weight of ambition without experience. And we haven't even discussed the rest of the train wreck: public trust, brand confusion, Harry's mounting anxiety, and industry veterans behind closed doors laughing at her name. Keep checking back as we explore the last 5 reasons why Meghan's recent growth is quickly turning into her worst public embarrassment to yet. You should reconsider if you believe that this foray into the hotel and restaurant industries was just a daring next move. As usual, industry insiders are already phoning Meghan's bewildered brand
is a lot of money. So it's just kind of exploring what's next, how dire their finances is. I'm sure they have a lot of smart investments that is probably paying for a lot of their daily upkeep. And I don't think that financially they're going to be in much trouble. And also they've happened to manage to surround themselves with a lot of famous wealthy friends. So
they're also not incorrect. Let's examine what it has attempted to be so far. Initially, it was thought to be a health brand, but it later made an unexpected appearance with a jam jar drop that made the media giggle. All of a sudden, there are hotels, restaurants, and upscale hospitality. As one brand expert put it, bewilderment is not a good way to foster loyalty. Customers must be aware of your identity. Meghan is managing this brand as if it were an arbitrary Pinterest board. The larger problem is that every new concept she comes up with is hurried and untested, not simply that she's experimenting.
That anytime soon. Now, this week we know the King is knighting David Beckham and London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Same honour, 2 very different people. Esther, your thoughts?
Yes, it's very, very different people indeed. I mean, David Beckham, for a long time, almost became a bit of a meme because he and his wife had always...
Meghan Markle's brand strategy is about anything other than survival. Get ready, because we are officially watching what can only be described as a full-blown entrepreneurial meltdown. So amateur, it makes Trump's windmill conspiracy look like a Harvard business case study. And folks, yes, it's hitting harder than Musk trying to explain inflation without sounding dumb, or Biden forgetting how to say China mid-speech, because boom, just like that, suddenly Meghan isn't just struggling with optics, she's struggling with everything. While successful lifestyle empires like Rihanna's Fenty and Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop were built on clear vision, focused niches, and years of trust building before asking anyone to buy in, Meghan's approach looks less like entrepreneurship and more like throwing darts in the dark hoping something sticks, and honey, nothing has. Her tabloid presence was supposed to be the marketing engine. Instead, it's become the wrecking ball, exposing every gap, every shortcut, and every empty promise wrapped in velvet filters, while real small food founders who followed every rule, got every certification, and still struggle for shelf space, watch in disbelief as she skips the basics and wonders why nobody claps when she says sustainability anymore. And baby, the cracks aren't just showing in her brand, they're spreading into her marriage, with royal insiders and Montecito neighbors reporting that even Prince Harry, once ride-orty, is growing quietly uneasy, realizing the empire he signed up for looks less like Fenty and more like a failing startup written in Sharpie ink and funded by borrowed time. So yes, while Meghan keeps pretending this is about empowerment, about breaking free from royal life and building something real, she's not inspiring millions, she's exhausting them. And trust me, honey, when your own husband starts flinching at your moves and comedians keep landing sharper truth bombs than your last Netflix deal, someone always shows up with the right mic, the right timing, and the right amount of sass to remind everyone that exposure doesn't need a crown to land hard, it just needs light, a little pressure, and a scalpel-wielding truth teller ready to cut through the illusion. Boom, just like that, folks. Checkmate. In the messiest way possible.
Years, really decades of service. He's finally got that honor that I'm sure he's very happy to get. And then on the other side, you have Sadiq Khan, which many people are kind of find this appointment controversial. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't believe that politicians that are still in office should receive those kind of honors. I think it's inappropriate.
Meghan Markle's post-royal career is about empowerment and passion projects. Get ready, because we are officially watching what can only be described as Meghan's business frenzy spinning out of control. And folks, it's less Shark Tank and more Hot Mess Express. According to one source close to the couple, Harry's been watching her stretch herself too thin, like he's stuck on the sidelines of a train wreck wearing a crown he never wanted, and suddenly it's not just podcasts, not just jam brands, not just hotel deals, it's everything, all at once, with the kind of chaotic energy that makes even late-night hosts pause before making another joke. And boom, just like that, Harry's recent solo appearances without Meghan have only fueled more speculation, because let's be real, he doesn't look focused, he looks distracted, maybe even distant, like he's Googling how to quietly disappear while pretending everything's fine in interviews and photo ops. Meanwhile, Meghan keeps charging forward with her brand dreams like she's starring in her own version of The Apprentice, only instead of firing people, she fires off new ventures faster than Musk rewrites his Twitter bio. But here's the kicker, while Meghan's busy building an empire of content, Harry's left picking up the pieces, or worse, the bills. Because yes, folks, he's still grappling with legal battles that won't end, documentaries that flopped harder than Trump trying to explain windmills, and honey, if you thought royal drama was exhausting, try being married to someone who treats business like TikTok trends and accountability like optional reading.
He's a successful politician in terms of getting re-elected. But since he came into power, knife crime in the capital is up by 50%. Many people feel like he's lost control of the streets, despite the fact that many people paying council tax in London their council tax has gone up by about 71% since he became mayor. So there's this kind of feeling that he's being rewarded for failure, and this is not something that is...
Meghan Markle can slap a name on a wall and call it luxury. Get ready, because we are officially watching what can only be described as a full-blown brand reckoning. So brutal, it makes her Netflix deal look like a minor footnote in the collapse of the Sussex empire. And folks, yes, it's hitting harder than Musk trying to explain inflation without sounding dumb, or Trump rewriting history with Sharpie ink while screaming China at portraits that won't clap back loud enough. Because boom, just like that, suddenly Meghan isn't just dodging questions about parenting or financial chaos. She's expanding into hospitality, baby, launching a high-end hotel brand like she personally invented service before forgetting how stairs work. And honey, nothing says luxury experience quite like having industry execs laughing behind their hands when asked about her venture, calling it what happens when celebrities confuse personal branding with actual operational expertise like they were handed punchlines instead of press kits. One former Four Seasons consultant flat out mocked the idea, saying, "You don't turn a hobby brand into a 5-star chain overnight, you need decades, not delusions." Another PR expert bluntly stated the obvious, this is what happens when you think slapping your name on merch is the same as running a hotel where people actually want to stay. And trust me, nothing says exposure quite like having your big business move reduced to ridicule by people who have been in the game longer than your podcast has had listeners. Because when your idea of leadership looks less like governance and more like projection wrapped in turtlenecks and TED Talk filters, suddenly you don't look visionary, you look out of touch. And while Harry quietly fades further into the background, probably Googling how to disappear between LinkedIn updates, Meghan keeps pushing forward like she's starring in her own version of The Crown but forgot how paragraphs work. And boom, just like that, the writing is already on the wall. This isn't expansion, it's a crash in slow motion, a solo climb built on ego, not expertise. And if timing backfires, if the public turns on her faster than Musk deletes tweets after realizing he sounded dumb, then Meghan's brand won't just be mocked, it'll be ruined. And honey, that scalpel is already out, sharpened by critics, aimed straight at the illusion, And baby, this time, there's no royal protocol to save her. Just the sound of experts smirking behind closed doors, waiting for the whole thing to implode. Boom, just like that, folks, checkmate. In the messiest way possible.